Hi, I'm Basandor, and I'm going to be going over the eclipse and new moon on February 17th, 2026. So this is a solar eclipse, and a solar eclipse happens when the moon is in between the sun and the earth, and sometimes the moon is a little bit lower than the sun, or sometimes it's a little bit higher, but in this case, it's going to line up pretty well. The moon is also going to be pretty far from the earth, and so there'll be like this ring of fire from the sun that will be very striking because it'll show over the moon, although it'll probably be hard for most people to see because the best place to see this eclipse would be in Antarctica. So another point I want to bring up is that the moon in this case is going to be very far from the earth, which is a unique part of this eclipse, and the moon shadow will be falling on the earth, which is a normal part of an eclipse. Okay, so an eclipse happens about every 6 months, and eclipses are pretty rare, and they're sort of seen as the starting of a new season or a commencement of a new cycle of something. And this eclipse is happening in the new moon in Aquarius, so it's like an Aquarius and Leo axis moon, and so those parts of, astrologically speaking, those parts of our charts that have Aquarius and Leo are going to be shifting a lot in this eclipse. And just personally, I find that the eclipses are times when unique and maybe unusual things are happening, like the routine of my life usually gets thrown off kilter in some way. And they're pretty exciting, although they can also be a little bit tiring. You may find that you need a little bit more rest during the time of an eclipse or a new moon. So it is a new moon, and this podcast for me is about the new moon and the full moon. So it's an exciting new moon coming up. I'm going to show the chart here soon. The new moon for me is a time when I see it as the starting of a new cycle, and I want to make a point that there's this phase. And in the chart that I'm going to show, it will show what's called the dark moon. So it's not actually the new moon, but it's that point when the moon and the sun are directly lined up. It's called the dark moon. And the new moon for me is actually when it's 1 degree out of that. So whether it's the dark moon or the new moon, for me, it's a time where I like to do something that commences a new cycle. I like to do, I think the word ritual might be a little too strong, but like I like to light a candle or even do something such as cut my fingernails. It'd be a good time to actually plant seeds, trim your hair, just something to recognize and honor the moon and this new cycle here on life that we're in. For me, it brings me more into the present moment. And yeah, I'm a lover of the moon. So, okay, let me bring up that chart here. Okay, I got to get it ready. Okay, there it is. That's the one. Okay, this is the chart. I have it set in San Francisco, and I'm using whole signs because I'm not really going to be talking about the houses here for what I'm doing, and the purpose of my podcast is to look at the moon. So I will be looking at the signs, but not so much the houses. So here is the sun and moon here. So this is the dark moon phase. They're conjunct here. There is a 9-degree conjunction with Mars being so close to the moon here, which it's not always so great for the moon. It can be something that there may be annoyances or arguments, something to kind of just be aware of. Mars in Aquarius is very quick, very smart. I could see some like quick comebacks coming to mind, or maybe a little bit of overthinking here. But one of the things about this chart that really I found so beautiful is that I'm going to be looking at Venus here, and it's conjunct the North Node and then applying to a trine with Jupiter in Cancer. And Venus in Pisces is probably my favorite Venus placement personally. It's an exalted Venus. It maybe doesn't have all the qualities that Venus in Taurus or Venus in Libra has, but I have a Venus water sign, so I'm a big fan of Venus in Pisces. I find it to be very inspiring, very poetic, very beautiful, enchanting, a little bit dark, maybe in a beautiful way. And Jupiter in Cancer is also exalted. So you have these two exalted planets trining towards each other in a water sign. Aquarius is the water bearer, someone who carries water. So, and I'm looking outside my window right now, it's raining. There's a lot to do with water here, or finding beauty in water, finding connection, maybe healing there, or with maybe images that symbolize water if you can't get to a body of water. So I think that's very exciting. I'm really looking forward to that placement, and it's only going to get stronger as the month goes on. And actually, February 18th is the start of Pisces season. So we have this new moon in Aquarius, and then immediately we go into Pisces season. But I still feel like the Aquarian themes are strong here, and those themes would be technology, community, the collective, and I think just what we see on social media and everything is just really going to turn and become something all new in its own, as it's becoming just so prevalent in our society. Another thing to look at in this chart here too, because we're looking at a new moon. So the moon is in Aquarius, which is which the planet is Saturn, and Saturn is over here in Aries, and it's going to be conjunct Neptune. And this is just wild. Like this is totally wild. And the exact conjunction would be on February 20th, but like for me, it's already exact. And so we're stepping into a whole new realm of the world and the way we communicate. And one thing just for me I've noticed is just the inundation of like seeing images of everyday people all the time, whether it be on social media or just anywhere. It's so foreign to me, not having grown up with social media. And so I think it's interesting to see, like, who are you going to step out with Saturn and Aries? Like, who are you going to step out and be on your own? Like, how are you going to be who you are in this collective? And at the same time, what are you going to offer to the collective? There's just a lot going on here. So new moon coming up February 17th. If possible, doing I'm going to say maybe a small ceremony just to honor that phase in the cycle, and probably resting a lot, maybe doing something near a body of water and feeling into that good Venus and Pisces, Jupiter and Cancer energy, that Neptune in Aries conjunct Saturn in Aries, feeling into that spirit. What dreams of a warrior do we have? What does the new frontier look like? So there you have it. Thank you so much.